If your application is publicly accessible on GCP and you're not using CloudArmor's custom rule expressions, you're basically leaving your front door wide open with a sign that says "Hackers Welcome." I've seen companies get hit with Layer 7 DDoS attacks that cost them $50,000 in a single weekend because they thought their load balancer alone would protect them.
Whoa, that's terrifying. I thought Google Cloud's infrastructure just handled DDoS automatically?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Network Ninja CloudCast. I'm your host, and today I've got my favorite curious engineer here ready to dive into some serious security stuff.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about Cloud Armor lately, especially after our team had some suspicious traffic patterns last month. Super excited to learn this.
Perfect timing then, because today we're going deep on CloudArmor's Layer 7 DDoS protection and that powerful custom rules language that most people completely underutilize.
Okay, so back to my question though. Doesn't GCP already protect against DDoS attacks? I mean, they're Google, right?
Great question, and here's where people get confused. Google's infrastructure does provide automatic protection against Layer 3 and Layer 4 attacks for traffic flowing through Google front ends via cloud load balancing, things like SYN floods and UDP amplification attacks. But here's the catch. That automatic protection applies specifically to resources behind cloud load balancing. And Layer 7 attacks? Those are application layer attacks that look like legitimate HTTP requests. They're sneaky because they're technically valid traffic, and that's where you need CloudArmor.
Oh, so it's like the difference between someone trying to break down your door versus someone who walks in normally but then causes chaos inside?
Exactly right. A Layer 7 attack might be thousands of requests to your /search endpoint with complex queries designed to exhaust your database connections. Each request looks normal individually. CloudArmor security policies get attached to your backend services and evaluate every single request as part of the load balancing process before traffic reaches your backend.
Got it. So how do I actually set this up? Is it complicated?
Not at all. First, you create a security policy in CloudArmor, then attach it to your backend service associated with your external application load balancer. But here's where it gets powerful. CloudArmor uses a custom rules language that's based on the Common Expression Language, or CEL, but with Google-specific extensions and some limitations. Important note, you'll want to reference CloudArmor's specific documentation rather than general CEL docs, because not all CEL features are available.
Can you give me a concrete example? Like what would an actual rule look like?
Absolutely. Let's say you want to block requests from a specific country that's been hammering your servers. You'd write a rule expression like origin.region_code == UA, using double equals for the comparison. Or maybe you want to rate limit requests to your API. Now, rate limiting is a bit more involved. You need to configure a rate limit options block that specifies your threshold, a conform action which is typically allow, an exceed action like deny with a 429 status code, and what key to enforce on, like IP address, an HTTP header, or a cookie. You might set something like 100 requests per minute per IP, with a 1-minute interval being the minimum.
Wait, so I can combine multiple conditions in one rule?
Yes, that's the real power. You can use logical operators like AND and OR. For example, you could write origin.region_code == CN and request.headers.contains. Notice the syntax there for accessing headers. You use square brackets with the header name in quotes, then call the contains method. This lets you get surgical with your blocking instead of using a sledgehammer approach.
This is making so much sense now. What about those pre-configured rules I've heard about?
Great segue. CloudArmor comes with pre-configured WAF rules based on the OWASP mod security core rule set. You can enable protection against SQL injection with evaluate pre-configured expr using SCLI stable or cross-site scripting with XSS stable. Now, here's something important to know. The complete set of pre-configured WAF rules with configurable sensitivity levels requires CloudArmor Enterprise. The standard tier has more limited access, and those rules have sensitivity levels from 0 to 4 that you'll want to tune or reduce false positives in your environment.
Okay, I have to ask, what mistakes do you see people making with Cloud Armor?
The biggest one is setting rules to deny mode immediately in production without testing. Always, and I mean always, start with preview mode. This logs what would be blocked without actually blocking it. I've seen teams accidentally block their own monitoring systems or legitimate API partners because they didn't test first.
Oh no, that would be bad. What's the second mistake?
Not setting up proper rule priority. CloudArmor evaluates rules from lowest to highest priority number. If you have a rule at priority 1000 that allows all traffic and a block rule at priority 2000, guess what? The allow rule wins and your block never fires. I recommend leaving gaps in your priority numbers, like using 1000, 2000, 3000, so you can insert rules later without renumbering everything.
Alright, let me make sure I've got this. Cloud Armor protects against Layer 7 attacks that look like normal traffic. I use Cloud Armor's custom rules language, which is based on Cell, to write rules that can match on things like region, headers, and paths. Rate limiting needs specific configuration with threshold, conform action, exceed action, and enforce key. And I should always test in preview mode first with properly ordered priorities.
Nailed it. One final pro tip. If you're on Cloud Armor Enterprise, which is the paid tier at around $3,000 per month plus per request charges, you can enable the adaptive protection feature. It uses machine learning to detect anomalous traffic patterns and can automatically suggest rules. It's like having a security analyst watching your traffic 24/7. But even on the standard tier, go to your GCP console right now and at least enable preview mode on your backend services to see what Cloud Armor would catch.
Oh, good to know about the enterprise tier requirement. That's a significant cost consideration for smaller teams.
Absolutely. Start with the standard tier to get familiar with writing rules and understanding your traffic patterns. You can always upgrade to Enterprise later when you need adaptive protection and the full WAF rule set. The fundamentals we covered today work on both tiers.
This was incredibly helpful. I'm literally going to do that right after we wrap up.
That's it for today's episode. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.
And share this with anyone running public-facing applications on GCP. This stuff is critical.
Thanks for watching the Network Ninja CloudCast. Stay secure, and we'll see you in the next one.